All right, welcome everyone. Today I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite slash possibly the best YouTubers for the expose niche. And these people tell you what's been going on in the past 20 years that you haven't been paying attention to. More importantly, let us know what's going on today, and then as well as things that possibly even to look out for in the future. So even if you end up following like 1, 2, 3 of these people, that is amazing. Just check out their videos and you're on your way to being more well-informed and even a better person. All right, first up we have Lawrence Johnson of Iniquitous News Network, who is a goat of newscasting and reporting. He often reports on things that happen like today. Like his news it'll be things from like 12 hours ago. So how he does that so naturally and with all the sources and everything is incredible. He really comes out with a good way to naturally tell you these things. And a lot of times it's things that the major news networks aren't gonna say. They're either paid not to say, or they're on the 24-hour news cycle and they don't care anymore. But he frequently speaks out about it isn't real and their genocide and the Epstein files and things like that. So he's a great source to stay informed on what is happening right now.
And then we got Turkey, who has decided, yeah, enough is enough. We cutting all this shit off. There's no more Israel that's going to be going down with this. That trade shit, dead. More countries need to be like this because that's the only way we can actually make effective change. If we keep on acting like they're not doing anything wrong, they're going to keep on executing people and civilians. That's the fucking problem. The other problem, but you know what? We keep on letting fly Israel and whatever the fuck they want to do. Because what did they do quietly over the weekend? Not very quietly. They bombed Yemen and killed their prime minister and took out their cabinet members. Yeah, I know. Exactly. I just said that sentence, and some of y'all probably had no idea that even happened, so as the Western media just decided not to report it or charge them with war crimes. Because just imagine if Yemen decided to kill Netanyahu and his cabinet members. The nukes would have been flying yesterday. Yemen would have not even been a country anymore. They would have been flattened to the ground along with all of their civilians. And we would have called them all terrorists. But somehow, Israel is allowed to bomb, take out the cabinet member and the prime minister, and nobody says a peep. Nothing's happening. Nobody has to pay anything. That's a war crime. That's an international war crime. You can't just fucking take people's presidents out when you're not even at war with them. Now, we know, obviously, Yemen and them have beef, but of course, obviously, wasn't that young? Well, that was the Houthis. You know, they're part of the Houthis. Everyone over there is bad. I don't understand how we just let that shit slide. What the fuck? How are you just taking out prime ministers in broad daylight in 2025 with zero consequence?
So More Perfect Union is the ideal expose YouTube page. It has everything basically the billionaires are doing to destroy your lives. I mean, exposés on Tesla, everything that's happening with our food industry, everything Trump is doing, how basically everything in the past 20 years that's kind of went behind the scenes, but now we're seeing really the true effects of it all. I mean, every week there's like two videos about 10 to 20 minutes long, and they're all honestly super important. Like this, any information it has, you can take any of that and run with it, and there are thousands of sources based on those. It's a really, really good channel.
DuPont scientists realized that was a very strong chemical bond, something that probably wouldn't be able to be broken apart. The concern became at that point, well, what would happen to living things that might get exposed to this?
So by the early 60s, DuPont started running its own experiments on rats, rabbits, and eventually their own workers. And they kept finding a concerning pattern.
There was a wealth of information within both 3M and DuPont that this particular chemical was toxic, persistent, cancer-causing. Yet all of this information was essentially kept internal to the companies. And this information had been covered up. The public hadn't been told, the regulators hadn't been told, the scientific community hadn't been told.
Armed with all of this evidence, Rob was able to settle Wilbur Tennant's case in 2001. But by that point, he had already opened Pandora's box.
What we had seen in the internal DuPont documents was that the same chemical was also getting into the public drinking water of the entire surrounding community, about 70,000 people in that area. So we had filed a new lawsuit against DuPont, this time a class action on behalf of the entire community.
That lawsuit eventually yielded a settlement of $70 million. But DuPont still refused to acknowledge that their chemicals could have played any role in causing widespread health issues in Parkersburg. So the settlement was used to do something unique. The money went towards developing a massive health study conducted by an independent panel of scientists.
We got 69,000 people out of the 70,000 in that community who came forward and participated. Probably some of the biggest human health studies ever done on any chemical. And by 2013, they had confirmed that drinking PFOA in the water was linked with 6 different diseases: kidney cancer, testicular cancer, ulcerative colitis, thyroid disease, preeclampsia, and high cholesterol.
So Dan Toomey at Good Work is another super important expose YouTuber. He does things a little satirical, and he is freaking hilarious. The things he covers, like there's videos such as are the mega rich ruining the Hamptons, helping explain to a 4th grader her dad's stupid hedge fund job, and different things like that. What does Palantir actually do? So although on the surface, you know, it is sometimes silly, it's like beyond important to listen to this guy. Seriously, check this out.
So special. It reminded me of, I don't know if you, of The Shining. There's a little girl in The Shining that says, "Come play with me forever and ever."
Well, Dr. C, good thing all you saw Replica do was seduce a minor, rather than try to crossbow kill the Queen of England. I mean, you never know with this guy. As Dr. Clark demonstrates, there is a Cheesecake Factory-sized menu of AI chatbots on the market for therapy-seeking users to choose from. This ranges from big tech products like Google's Gemini, Grok, Claude, Perplexity, Meta AI, DeepSeek, or others that advertise themselves as having therapist-like capabilities, from Character AI to Earkick, Abby, Replica, Talkie, Pi, and many more. Now, each of these come with varying degrees of sketchiness. On one end are promising AI bots like this one from Dartmouth researchers that was deliberately made for therapy. And on the other end is something like Nomi, which states on its website that its bot has a soul, can come equipped with massive leather-strapped honkers, and even helped one 73-year-old user replace the emotional hole left by their partner who died.
ChatGPT is not intended to be used for therapy purposes. It is not a therapist, despite what it will tell you. And I think a big challenge with ChatGPT is it's really designed to increase and keep engagement. It wants you to keep using it. It wants you to keep talking to you. And so often it will respond in ways not to help you, but just to keep you in a conversation.
All right, Peter, you've been doing great so far. Just some layup questions ahead, and let's bring this home.
I think you would prefer the human race to endure, right?
No way.
You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes.
I don't know. I would.
Yeah, yes. The answer's yes.
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit in this.
Should the human race survive?
Yes. The only answer is yes.
Yes.
Great.
But
fuck.
I also would like us to radically solve these problems.
Right.
And so, you know,
what is he talking about?
Yeah, transhumanism. Human natural body gets transformed into an immortal body. And there's a critique of, let's say, the trans people in a sexual context, or I don't know, a transvestite is someone who changes their clothes and cross-dresses. We want more than cross-dressing or changing your sex organs. We want you to be able to change your heart and change your mind, your whole body. And then Orthodox Christianity.
So Veronica at Hey AI News says you don't need to be a coder in order to understand AI. She explains AI News what matters in plain English. She says she's been in tech for 11 years, and she really covers a wide variety of topics on the current AI news coming out today. And a lot of the times at the end of the videos, she has pretty important key takeaways like these.
But 3 takeaways from this. 1, if you have children under the age of 20 growing up with these AI tools, not having reasoning skills fully developed yet, keep them away from these tools, especially used in emotional capacity. Moderate their usage. Double check that it's being used only for educational purposes. The second thing is that understand that you do not have patient-doctor confidentiality when you use these chat bots. Sam Altman made a statement about this a few weeks ago, basically to understand that when you have private, deep, emotional conversations with ChatGPT, that information is not privileged to privacy. Hypothetically, it will be kept private, but legally, they're already seeing this in lawsuits in the United States. Legally, the training data is having to be retained to possibly be used in lawsuits. And then therefore, you know, who knows? Maybe somebody would see your thread talking about how much you hate your aunt. I don't know, but let's just not take that risk. And the third thing I would say, for anyone who doesn't understand how AI models work and ChatGPT models work, please leave a comment on my channel that you want to understand. If you understand how these base models work, you do not need to be a developer. You do not need to be somebody that's technical. I think it will help you to understand what they're good at, what they're bad at, and what you should not trust them with. Because I feel like too many people are implementing AI into their lives without understanding the safety parameters, without understanding how they work. I don't know. What do you guys think?
So Vanessa Wingard coming up next is a developer exploring the dark side of AI. And a lot of the times, although she goes over the news things, she also goes over the implications of such things in years to come that many people might not realize are the paths that these could take. Check this out.
Social media primed us to seek validation from an algorithm. It normalized turning to a screen for emotional regulation. If you're bored, scroll. If you're lonely, post. ChatGPT is just a more sophisticated, non-judgmental, ego-stroking version of a social media app. And as media and political figures started using social media for their own agendas, it started dividing people. And people started overloading on information that they didn't know if it was true or not. This primed users to look for a single source of truth, and that truth being the AI. I believe another huge systemic problem that is being exposed in all of this is the financial crisis.
Now, this next one I actually just found is struthless, but this is one of the most inspirational mofos I've ever seen. And if you just need life advice on how to reframe all the negative things you're thinking, check this one out.
Back yourself. This is a video about how and why to back yourself. Yes, you specifically. You who has posting anxiety. You who doesn't put yourself out there. You who stays quiet while the worst people alive get louder and louder and louder. I need you to make more noise. I need you to back yourself. Alright, in this video, we are going to talk about why and how to back yourself in 12 different strategies. Some of these are tips, some of these are questions, some of them are strategies, some of them are mental models, just ways of seeing things, but all of them can hopefully help you back yourself. The idea isn't that you take all 12 on board, it's that you watch this video, and honestly, if like 3 stick, that is huge. Alright, number 1 of 12. But what will blank think? This is the idea that when you are about to do something that backs yourself, when you are about to, I don't know, film yourself in a forest, you might have that voice of resistance. And what I've found to be helpful is instead of just feeling that resistance amorphously, giving it a label, because it trivializes it. For example, I know that there are many things that I haven't done because in retrospect, what I've actually been thinking is, but what will the dumbest people alive think? It's like, why am I worried about that? Yours might be more personal, but what will my judgy coworker think? Or my cousin, or my stepdad, or the people that I used to hang out with, or someone who used to bully me in high school who now watches every one of my Instagram stories. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? What will they think? Maybe you think about comments and the comments that you don't want, and that thought actually might just be, but what will the most chronically online sociopaths think? I reckon they're gonna hate it. I reckon whatever it is, they're just gonna hate it, you know? Of course, you can flip this as well and start to think about people who do support you, but what will the people I love and respect who want me to try think? What will they think? They'll probably just be stoked that I'm doing something. They'll be like, yay, good for you. But all that really matters is, what do you think? That feels cheesy, but I am deadly serious. And I know I've said this a bunch on my channel, but I truly think that if you can only chase one thing, chase your own self-respect. Next one.
Next up is Hank Green, who's John Green's brother, who both of them have been on YouTube since January 2007. They've been doing this quite a while, are very popular. You know, John Green wrote the novel The Fault in Our Stars, Looking for Alaska, and stuff like that. He's also a gigantic Mountain Goats fan. But aside from that, his brother Hank is an incredibly important YouTuber telling us things to keep our motivation up a little bit and to really paths to think that can lead you to the right things. Like, this is a clip from a video telling us not to rely on what we want to do or our dreams, but really rather what our tools are and what we're good at. Check us out.
But I think I did. I think I learned a lot from doing that. And I hope that people don't like think less of me, that I don't like have a goal that I'm running toward. I'm like really looking at like an idea has to solve a legitimate problem and has to be achievable with my toolkit. And I have to understand both of those things really well. And that's like where it comes from. So understand the problem space, and that's probably the hardest part. And then understanding my toolkit, which is easier because it's like I'm in it. It is me in many ways. I know it's also this computer and, you know, the relationships I have and the audience I have, but like all of this, that feels pretty internal to me. It feels like an extension of me. I don't sort of like draw the boundary of who I am at the flesh boundary, at the like flesh border. That would be silly, you know? How could I imagine that when people are seeing versions of me that made a video 10 years ago and that's still out there being me, even if it's not me anymore. Anyway.
So I want to say that this next upcoming channel, Beyond Reality, is really kind of ways to think to do better in your life. And if you even think like these, and you don't even think that it's true, but if you think like this, you know, maybe you can get a little bit further. But to be honest, I mean, these are things in the pushing realms of physics and philosophy, and discussing that our brain may not be, you know, something that puts out the thoughts, but yet just a receiver for these thoughts, like a radio is to a radio signal. If you're spiritual, or if you're just into physics, philosophy, or kind of into anything, check this one out.
Imagine if your thoughts were just ripples on the surface and the real awareness was the ocean beneath. Not just metaphorically, but physically, structurally. What if your consciousness is not in your head, but your head is in your consciousness? This isn't mysticism wrapped in science. It's a growing suspicion among physicists, philosophers, and consciousness researchers that what we call mind might not be an emergent byproduct of neurons, but a field fundamental to reality itself. David Bohm, a quantum physicist whose mind moved between equations and intuition, proposed that what we experience is the explicate order, the visible, measurable, tangible world. But behind it exists the implicate order, a deeper, enfolded dimension where everything is connected and where the separation between objects, beings, and moments collapses. In this model, consciousness doesn't emerge from matter, it expresses through it. Others, like philosopher Philip Goff, argue from a different angle. If consciousness is real and irreducible, then perhaps it's not an exception to nature, but a part of its fabric. This is panpsychism, the idea that awareness in some form is everywhere. Not that rocks have minds, but that matter itself carries the potential for experience, like pixels of consciousness lighting up under the right conditions. And if that's true, then your brain, your body, isn't the source of you. It's more like a lens, a receiver, an instrument that tunes into a specific bandwidth of being. Just one perspective among countless others. This view isn't just philosophical, it aligns eerily with accounts from those who have clinically died, only to return with stories of perception far beyond the physical.
This next guy is the single most important YouTuber you will ever see. Check this one out.
Well, we've had enough clouds since the blackout started. Caught engaging for the broken-hearted. I'm trying to see the glasses half full, even when it's empty half full. Trying to see the glasses half full, but I'd probably just...
So, in conclusion, if you check out these 8 YouTubers and scour their pages and watch every other video they've ever created, you will not only be a more well-informed person to make more informed decisions for you and your family and loved ones, but you'll also be a better person. A lot of times we're doing things in our ignorance that cause problems every day, but knowing what we are doing and doing better every day is what this is all about. So thanks for checking those channels out. Seriously, give at least 2 of them a follow. Maybe even this one.